Lesko Free Radio again. Listen, I got a killer show for you today. We got 5 items I think are just terrific. I worked on them all week. So what you really get the benefit of in this hour is my week of research, finding you great opportunities and benefits that nobody else really is covering or knows about. Actually, the first thing I'm going to tell you about is how you're going to make more money during the government shutdown than if the government was in business. And so that's a little trick that nobody's telling you about. So I'll share it with you. Then I really cover an interesting report that came out from the International Economic Group, OECD it's called, and they monitor all the development in all the development countries. So how good everything is going on in like 24 developed countries in the world. And what they did is measure the skills. Who's got good job skills? Which countries have the best job skills? Well, we're way down in the toilet on this list. So I'm going to show you that list, and then plus I'll show you how to get what you need to get better job skills, better jobs, and do it for free. So stay tuned. That's going to be a little lengthy too, so it's a little longer than the other bits, but stay for that because that's really important, I think. Plus, I'm going to show you how failing early and failing often is the key to success. I got a great interview. It shows you all about that. Or how a garage inventor is working on old technology. This old movie machine he has, and he made a bunch of money on the internet, using new technology to make money on his old technology in his garage, and that's fun. And then also we're going to cover, which I think is very important, 3D printers. Now this is where a printer can make this now. You print in your home. And also there's companies out there for a few dollars they'll make one of these for you. And it's a great thing for anybody who has ideas and they want to sell something. So they need a production, they need a sample product. With a 3D printer, it costs you almost nothing. And you can find them in your neighborhood for next to nothing. So I'm going to show you all about that business. And there's a fellow who invented something, actually even to make that even cheaper. So stay tuned, watch the whole show, or else you're going to miss real important stuff. I was downtown Washington, D.C. last night. People were coming up to me because I had my question mark suit on and said, "Hey, let's go, with the government shutdown, there's no more money going to be given out. And, there's all those opportunities are gone." And God, people in Washington should know better than that. Man, the government shutdown doesn't mean anything about how much money the government gives out. The government has to give out the money. And what really happens, everybody thinks that there's no more money given out. So people don't ask. So that's why there's going to be a better opportunity for people who are looking for financial assistance to do stuff in life to do it now, because everybody else thinks it's not going to be there. And they're going to solve this problem. These idiots on Capitol Hill, I don't know what the heck they're all about, but this is stupid what's going on, but they'll be back to work soon. And that's when the opportunity happens, because they have to give away. Here's the budget. Look at, last year they had to give out $3.5 trillion. That's how much the budget was. In 13 it was 3.6 trillion. It's going to be 3.6 trillion again in 14 next year. So it's going to be there. You have to apply. The government doesn't go away. I've been studying this stuff for over 30 years, and every year, no matter who's in the White House, who's in Congress, this stuff grows every year. And maybe that's the real problem. But the opportunity is everybody thinks it's gone, and that creates a better opportunity for you to go and find this money and get it, because they have to give it away. These poor bureaucrats have to make quota. Every year they have to make quota. Actually, usually at the end of the year is the best time. They give out like 9% of the money in 2% of the time. So that's even a bigger opportunity. There's a very famous organization in the world now called the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. Okay, this is an international group that measures all the developed countries. There are like 24 developed countries in the world. These are, like America and Europe and things like that. Well, they came out with this incredible study that says that America is almost the dumbest country among these 24 countries. And it's really serious stuff, because what they did is they evaluated skills, the workers in these countries, and what kind of skills they have. Okay, and they evaluated, their literacy skill and their numeracy skills. So how well they handle numbers and how well they can interpret and read. Because these are the skills that are required to grow in our economy nowadays. In other words, if you see the data about jobs, jobs, the growing jobs are those that require numeracy and literacy. So you need those kinds of intellectual skills to get the good jobs. All the other jobs are shrinking in this country. So how good your skills are means how good of a job opportunity you're going to have. And if you see the results of this study, we're like ranked 22 out of 25 for numeracy. There's only 2 other countries in these 24 countries that are dumber than we are. Only number 1 in America is now number 22 in the world. And that's what's happening. And we're like 19 out of 25 for literacy. I mean, no matter what you think about yourself and the people around you, man, this is the world we live in. This is data that really shows that we're suffering a bit here, and the careers aren't going to be as important. Sure, there's going to be the divide, and the smart people are going to, do well in this country no matter what, but it's going to get harder and harder unless you have those skills. Okay, so if you don't have those skills, what do? You gotta get them, no matter what age, because even at like my age, I'm 70 years old, I maybe live 20 more years, and I gotta get those skills really to keep competitive. Okay, so at any age, how are you gonna get those skills? Okay, there's some good ways and some bad ways, okay? Here's my suggestions. The first thing you should do is go to your Career One Stop. Okay, this is a government agency. They have thousands of offices all around the country. And if you go to Career One Stop, CareerOnestop.org. Remember, .org, not .com. They're going to sell you something. So you want to go to CareerOnestop.org. Now, they have programs there, job training. You get up to $8,000 to train for a new job, so that's the pay. You need just a course or 2 to finish college. They'll even pay for that, because they're not the normal scholarship places. You have to look other places for that. But this is just for job training money. You need to pay for like travel to get a new job or things like that, or even pay for, you don't even have good enough clothes or something to go for an interview. If you help you that, or pay for daycare money, or what other kind of assistance available. Maybe you lost your job because of imports or something like that. There's training money, special money for that. I mean, see, you could be a millionaire also and use these services. There are absolutely no income requirement, to use these. So that's one place you go to. They'll help you with resumes, stuff like that, how to search for jobs on the internet, train you on all kinds of stuff. So that's a good stopping place to see. Or starting place, I'm sorry, to see what's available. The Career One Stop. Now, the other thing you should be aware of, because I know most of us feel the pressure that we have to be educated. So what happens is there's for-profit universities out there that are spending a lot of marketing dollars trying to get you to go to university. And I think going to a for-profit university is the last place you ever want to get education. Why? Because 90% of the money that these universities live on are from calling you up saying, hey, you need an education, which they're right. I could give it to you very easily, and all you have to do is get a loan. I'll show you how to get a loan that the government will help you with to pay for it. Well, they charge outrageous fees for their universities. You get the money under your name, you get a loan, give it to them, and what are you going to get? Well, you're not going to get much, because a university like that are like 7 times more expensive than a community college. So you're getting a product, that's 7 times, maybe the same product you could get at your local community college. They are actually double the price of a public university. So why pay double for something, when you could get it half price at a public university, because you got some sweet-talking salesman, that's why. The other thing is that, what are you getting for your money? Well, here's the real thing. Nonprofit colleges spend an average of $15,000 a year to educate you. $15,000. And you know what the for-profit universities pay to educate you? Like $2,600. A fraction. So you're getting a product that's a fraction of what you can get and pay a heck of a lot less or whatever. And all their money comes from you getting a loan, and that's silly. You don't need more debt. That's the worst thing to do with education. That's why the best deal in this country for education is community college. So you want to contact your local community college, and because it's the easiest place to get money. It's the cheapest place. For $1,000 you could, go to school for a semester, and you could even probably, if you don't have a lot of money, they'll pay for that too, because there's government grants that you don't have to pay back, not loans, or there's other programs. You could go to, they have programs too to check out what they have. They have great counselors, like you even can't even speak English or something. They have great programs to help you speak English, or programs will have training for like 6 months, 8 months or whatever, that cost you nothing, that give you a skill, a degree. And actually they're 2-year programs. They have 2-year programs there. You go for 2 years and get a degree that start at $50,000 or more. That's right, start a whole new career. I mean, you don't have to wind up being a barista or something and making 20 grand. You can go back for education and start a whole new career, starting at an entry level jobs at $50,000. That's still available in this country with the right jobs and the right skills. But it's all about getting those skills. And those skills are available if you're looking in the right places. If you're looking for, you're going to for-profit universities, man, they're after your money more than anything. The nonprofits and things like that, the government-supported ones, they want you to make more money so they get tax money. So that's where their motive comes in. And how do you find the community colleges? Okay, just go to Google, any of the search engines, search for the American Association of Community Colleges. American Association of Community Colleges. And you go to their website, they have a map there, you find the community colleges in your area. Contact the community colleges, you don't know what you're doing, hey, you want to talk to a counselor. And don't forget, every county has one, so your local library can help you find it too if you can't find it. And make an appointment, talk to a counselor about the opportunity and degree programs that may be there, the non-degree, the 6-month programs, the 2-year programs, how you could get into a growing field that is going to make you, more economically self-sufficient in this country and get those skills that people are going to pay for. You don't have skills, man, nobody wants you in this country, and that's why you have to have those skills. Now, another way that makes things easier to get those skills is something called MOOC, M-O-O-C. And that stands for Massive Open Online Courses. Education is changing. The whole world is changing now because of the internet and things like that. And what's happening now, there are famous universities. Thousands, millions of people are taking courses for free on the internet. I'm talking about for free. There's a lot of universities and for-profit colleges that say, take an online class, they're going to charge you. These are the famous universities in the world. Harvard, MIT, Berkeley, Stanford, University of Michigan, Princeton. You could take those courses for free. Now, you're not going to get a degree, but you could get certificates. Now, it depends, but they're free, the best teachers in the world. You want to learn something, you can now go to the best teachers in the world. Online, all you need is this, an online connection, and go to courses that are taught by the best teachers in the world. Maybe that's still knowledge. They're skills that you're going to acquire. You want to learn something. You want to contribute to society. This is a way, and this is going to change all the time. They're going to be more. They're going to, we're going to have to do something with this education. It's another bubble that's going to burst. So don't get caught in the existing system, getting a lot of debt and things like that. Find how to get this debt. Get those skills and education you need without going into deep debt, and you can. Okay, here are the 2 major websites that offer a lot of these, free courses from major universities by expert professors. One is called Coursera.org. I better go back to school and learn how to talk. It's Coursera.org. Coursera.org. The other one is edx.org. That's edx.org. They're the two major websites, so start there. Okay, now there's some other interesting things going on out there. In addition to the Moot, there's things like I found an organization now called the App Academy. Now this is a place for 9 weeks. They'll train you for free how to become a computer programmer. 9 weeks. You don't need a degree. You don't need anything. They're booming. We need people who have good computer skills. We don't have enough in this country. So companies are looking for people. So this is a group that takes people who are interested in becoming a computer programmer like that, or developing apps, for your iPhone and things like that. They teach you in 9 weeks. You'll work your butt off. It's 80, 90 hours of school a week. You're going to work your butt off, so you have to commit this thing. But it's free. Where they get money is they get you a job. If you don't get a job, you don't have to pay for the school. But when you get a job, they take like 18% or something like that of your salary you get. But the salary is $90,000. That's right. You make $90,000 after spending 8 weeks of learning how to write computer programs. And you don't have to be an engineer, math major, whatever. You just have that desire and some basic, skills, basic interest or aptitude for this, and they will help you with this. And that's what's cool about it. It's called App Academy. They have courses that start every week. They're both in New York and San Francisco. So as they're starting, because this is new, there'll be other organizations like this providing this kind of service. So look for them. Another place is, if you're older, like me, I'm an old guy. Well, I could go to 350 universities for free or next to nothing. And that usually starts at about age 60. And study anything. So see, to me, at age 60, you can go become a doctor if you want. So it takes you 9 years, but you're still maybe here for 20 more years to help out in society, And what could be better than? We need teachers. So why don't you go back at 60 years old and take a few years and learn how to become a teacher and get a good job with a good pension, but you'll never need it because you're going to die helping people. So you won't even need that pension. So remember, because of your age, senior people, there's 350 universities, and they're all the public colleges and that are around in the country. So if you're looking for them, you can go to your local library and ask them about, get a list of all the public universities in your state and call them all and see how good the deal is, because a lot of them are going to write for free. But the most important thing is you get skills to be able to compete, because in the world, that's how it is. Like now in this data they show, like people who graduated from Korea who are 18 years old are actually better at literacy skills than people who get college degrees in Italy. Wow. So that's what you have to compete with. That's what you have to compete with in the world. And it's all about skills. So you start getting your skills, and you can. And it's out there, probably for free. Okay, I want to introduce you to the young man who invented the strudel. I know you don't know what that means. I didn't know what it meant either, until I talked to him. But what it is, and actually you won't even care what it is unless you know about 3D printing. Okay, 3D printing is the stuff that, instead of a printer that prints on paper, this is a printer that you hook up to the computer that makes stuff. You can make teacups, you can make toys, you can make all kinds of things, because what it does is, instead of printing words on paper, it prints stuff. That's what they're talking about. Even somebody made a gun out of using a 3D printer. So this is a way to make experimental things, and this is becoming very popular now, and I think more and more people have to know about it, because the prices are coming down, down, down. You could actually buy one of these things now for $600 to like $2,000. Before it was $20, $30, $40, $50,000. And it mostly makes a lot of plastic, ceramics, and now even metal. And it keeps laying layers and layers and layers of something on top of it, and most of it is plastic. So you put the plastic in there like a snake, a little tube that melts it and lays it down, melts another layer and lays it down, and builds it up, builds it up, builds it up. So this thing that you put in there is like the razor blades when you buy this. So what he invented is a way to make this stuff that you put into it like 10%, so 90% off of what it usually costs, because this is where the expense comes. And the important thing about 3D printers, even if you don't have one, you should know about them, because if you're looking to develop a product and you need particularly like in crowdfunding and getting money on the internet for things, you need a sample product. So instead of going to Japan or something and making a million of these things, because that's all they'll make, you can make one for like $50, $100, $200, or whatever it is. But you just make one, so you show it. So many of these people that I've interviewed now in crowdfunding have made a half a dozen until they get it right. They know exactly what the product is. So it costs them $50 or $100 a piece. That's still better than, investing $10,000 to get a run of 500 or 5,000, whatever they need to do in a normal manufacturing plant. So this becomes designer manufacturing at a very low cost. So anybody who's thinking about something that you want to make to see if it's good or not, you could make a sample product from one of these 3D printers and then go on the web and raise money to get, to make 1,000 of them or whatever, how many you need to make in a big production run. And so it's very important, I think, in our economy, and it's a way to have more manufacturing in this country and more bright ideas coming to fruition. And so this guy has made an idea that even makes it even cheaper than it was just 2 weeks ago. So watch this, and you'll learn all about 3D printing and how to make even 3D printing cheaper.
Well, Mr. Ben Fischler, the inventor of the strudel. Well, today I want to educate people not only how you found all this money on the website to make your strudel, but what the heck is a strudel and why is it important?
Well, the strudel takes plastic pellets, which are...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It takes plastic pellets, which are 1/5 the cost of actual pre-made spool material, and it will extrude them out into filament ready that can be fed into your printer, and it basically saves you a lot of money.
Okay, now that's terrific. Now we have to go back and explain to people what the hell is extrusion, what the heck is a 3D printer. So people aren't as hip as you to what's going on in the world. How do we get these people as hip as you to explain what a 3D printer is?
Well, a 3D printer basically will take an object that you design. It can start out on paper design, and then you have to make a computer model of it. From there, it's going to basically do slices of that model and then build it up layer by layer by layer into a physical object that you can basically pull off your printer and hold, use for whatever you want to use it for.
So in other words, I could go take a 3D printer and make like this cup.
Out of plastic, or I do have ceramic ones, yes, but right now the mainstream ones are plastic, and yes, you could do that.
I could make a plastic cup like that.
Yes, you could.
So what people who are inventing things, have an idea and they want to say, what does this look like? They go to a 3D printer and make a prototype, right? To see what this looks like. And it
makes the process
very little, right? The printers themselves are only a few $1,000s, if that, but they can go to a service like you have that will take your idea and make it into a 3D printer, and I guess it doesn't cost a whole lot. I mean, $100 or $200 is a lot of money, right? To make one little thing.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. So I don't want to be lying. I mean, that's what I mean. I'm really trying. I think a lot of people don't really understand the importance of this yet. That if you're a tinkerer, you have an idea for something, you have a new idea for. Like I was talking to some guys the other day who wanted to put your iPad and hook it to your laptop, so you have an extended screen and the little device. They did 1,000 or maybe 20, 30 different times on a 3D printer. Instead of going to some big factory and spending thousands of dollars, they spent a few $100s and got it done.
Exactly. It's very handy even for household things. Let's say you have a little fixture you need to hang up and there's just the right shape you need to make. You can go off, take a set of calipers, measure that, design it up on a computer, and then print it out.
Really? So this, or I break my little Lego toy, I can make a new one.
Same material. Yep.
Well, so this is going to be great to have around the house. But more importantly, what your Studoodle does, I mean, printing on this is not so much. I think of the 3D printer like a razor, and that's like the paper is what's expensive, right?
Yes, normally you can go through the spool material. Basically, it's pre-wound filament made of plastic, and they're very expensive, and you can go through them very quickly to make the physical objects. And what the Strudel does basically is takes a much cheaper product and turns it into that product.
So in other words, if it's a real, you're getting paper for a tenth of the price for my copying machine.
Exactly.
That you normally have, and because of your idea that makes the paper for this copying machine, which is really plastic, right, to make all this stuff, and you're saving people 90% on that. Yeah, I mean, that's phenomenal. So are you going to get the Nobel Peace Prize this year, you think, for this? Or?
I don't think that'll be happening, no.
Well, if they just knew about you, maybe it would happen. It's marketing. Remember that. You engineers don't know about marketing.
That's one of the weak points of the engineers.
It's all about marketing. Well, I just think that this is a wonderful idea. I mean, it seems like a revolution is really happening in our country to get manufacturing back. And 3D printing, I think, will help facilitate that for the average person in the house. I mean, if you get one of these 3D printers for $2,000 now and make anything you want, or even go to a service bureau like your company, that will take your idea to make it happen on a 3D printer for you, and it costs hardly anything. And that's just helping us develop faster, I think. So
it drastically improves the design cycle time.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, you have to go to some big company and wait for them and spend a lot of money, and who knows when's that's going to happen or if it's ever happen. And so you will just help this world get by faster and better and smarter, and doing it all from the beach in San Diego. What could be better than that? But you're really an aerospace engineer, aren't you?
Yes, that's correct.
So that's what these rocket scientists do in their spare time.
Got to have a separate hobby.
Well, there's a lot worse you could be doing. So I'm glad you're doing this. You're a delight, Ben, and thank you for doing this work and helping the rest of us really save money on creating ideas for this country and moving ahead. So this is an important aspect, I think, of all the stuff that's going to happen in the future. So I'm glad you're doing this.
Thank you.
Well, Ben, thanks for coming back. I forgot to tell people how to get the Strudel. And it's a wonderful device. So if you're going to do 3D printing or know somebody is, your Strudel will make the input to the printer, the coil, the plastic, or whatever, at a tenth of the price. And you go to where am I? B3dprintjob.wix. What is Wix? .wix?
It's actually a free web hosting site where you can do design for the websites.
Oh, really? Oh, terrific. So that's B3dprintjob.wix. And find out all about you and the Strudel. And
yes, that's
a service bureau that will do Strudel stuff for you or make 3D stuff for you. And that's what we could all use, I think, particularly if people don't have a Strudel in their house or a 3D printer in their house. They need somebody like you to figure it out. So again, thanks for being there. And that's B3dprintjob.wix, W-I-X. Thank you again.
Thank you.
So isn't that cool? Now 3D printing, if you don't have your own 3D printer, you don't have to. There's services, like he runs one of them, where you just call up these services, and what they do is just do one for you. They know the technology and the software and everything. You don't have to know anything. You just have to put a little scratch of, I want something sort of like this. And they write the code and everything because it's pretty well sophisticated, and make you one and send it out to you, or you send them a sample, what you like, anything. Yeah, they can do it. So you don't even have to invest in 3D printing to take the advantages of 3D printing. It's like going down the copy service. Before we had Xerox machines, or with the little business down the corner that would you take your paper for it and make you 100 copies or 10 or 1 or whatever you need. It's the same way with 3D printing. So you don't have to invest in a big copying machine, and you don't have to invest in a 3D printer because you only want 1 or 2 or 3 done. That's what's going on out there. So keep in touch with all this stuff so you can take advantage of it. Okay, now here's a fella I'd like you to meet, and you maybe like him, or you certainly know somebody is like him. One of those guys who's in the garage all the time, tinkering with stuff, in love with some idea, his passion, and it's not even a high-tech passion. This fella actually is involved in something called the Zoetrope. It's a movie-making machine before they had movies. It's a great thing, and he loves this stuff, and he's been working on it so many years. He's an inventor and an artist, and this is really his passion. So he went on the internet to try to raise a whole bunch of money to get him equipment to make these things and mass distribution, and he failed. But that failure was important to him because now he came back on the internet just like a month later or so, and he's raising twice as much as he ever thought he would. So this is neat, and it's this this low-tech machine that he needs equipment to make bunches of them, and he makes them so well they're even in big movies like the Lone Ranger movie that was out recently. One of his products are right in there, and they're coming out in another movie too, a big movie about Walt Disney, and one of his products is going to be in there. See, so that's how you could take your passion, find money for it. Passion, that thing you're tinkering around with in the garage, and it doesn't even have to be high tech. There's a lot of low tech out there that we still need, and fun things, and that's what he's doing, is adding fun to people's lives, by producing this product, and he now got the money to do it. So now watch this video. Well, Les Cookson, man, I never met anybody who was into retro technology that makes it so much fun.
There's a reason people did it so long ago, because it is a lot of fun. So.
Wow. But also, you went on the internet and raised, look, you're up to $3,500 already. And this is for equipment, so you can make gazillions of these things, right?
Yeah, so I've been making them in my garage, punching out the slots by hand, and Kickstarter to get some money to ramp it up.
And it's called a Zeoflix, right? And did you have something there to show me or not? You don't have one right in front of you.
Yeah, it's called the Zoeflix, which is a new version of the Zoetrope is what it was called before. And so here's one right here.
Right, and you spin that around and you watch movies, right?
Yeah.
It shows it. Yes, there he is.
Yeah, there you go. We got there's a little cartoon strip inside there.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you were saying that you're getting these, like you were, what was that, a filmmakers convention that they're using them for, and weddings and all kinds of neat, cool things.
Yeah, they were putting them as a centerpiece at a theater owners convention. I designed a custom animation strip. The animation strips, they look like this. It's just a bunch of cartoons on a strip, and then whatever you put on there, it'll bring it to life. So they had it just as a centerpiece at all the tables, so they could see.
But you can do your own animation, right? I mean, it doesn't look that hard to do it, or kids could do it too. It looks like a great toy.
Oh yeah, you can draw your own. Here's one I drew in just a few minutes. You look in the Kickstarter video. I mean, it's very, very simple, but when it starts moving, it looks really cool. So.
Well, that looks like my artwork. So.
Yeah, that's something I did in just like 2 minutes without thinking about it ahead of time. And you put time in it. You can use some cool stuff.
You were on Kickstarter before and failed, right?
Yeah, I failed and learned a lot from it, and got back up and tried again, and was successful the second time around. And it just shows you keep trying, keep learning from your failures, and you'll make it.
Well, what are some of the things that you screwed up on the first time besides not listening to your wife?
Oh well, no, it was not listening to my wife. She kept saying, "I told you." There was things about the video that weren't clear enough. The video was did the video, and we did it again during the first campaign. We did 2 videos, and the first one was super. It just wasn't direct. It wasn't concise. There needed to be a clear, concise message. And a big thing too was just asking for too much money. Looking at Kickstarter and thinking, oh wow, look at how much all these projects are raising. We can raise a ton of money, and then sort of just figuring, okay, we're just gonna do.
We're gonna get $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. And the second time around, I'm like, okay, what do I actually need?
I see.
I'm gonna use a lot of the same. Instead of trying to do a whole new Zoe trope, I'm gonna deal with the stuff that I already have with a lot of the jigs and pieces and parts
So the first time, before we got cut off, you said so the second time you used some of the stuff that you already used the first time and didn't require as much money to fundraise, right?
Yeah, the first time I was trying to just pull out all the stops, build a whole new Zoe trope, a different size. Every piece would have to been redone, and new equipment for everything. And the second time around, rather than doing that, I realized, okay, I can't be greedy. I can't do everything that I want. I had to focus it down to the core, and just build off of what I've been building in my garage and expand that with the crucial equipment rather than trying to redo the whole thing.
But also being on the web and showing your product like that, doesn't that get you other kind of interest and things like that? I mean, anything else, like maybe possible distributors or people think it's cool and want it for their wedding or things like that. It must help in so many ways.
Oh yeah, because you get it on there and it's gonna be on there forever. And Zoeflix.com, that I'm directing people to the Kickstarter. I mean, after the Kickstarter, I'm going to direct that domain name back to the website where people can get it. And it's something where Kickstarter is not just about raising money. It's about getting your name out there, getting your product, your idea, your artwork out there so people can see it. And it's a much more engaging platform so people are interested because they want to be part of it.
They're shopping.
And there's a lot of they're shopping, but they're helping you in the creation process. They can give you feedback. They give me feedback. I can incorporate that in what I'm doing. And people who have a lot of the ideas of their own, they see someone else with an idea and they want to jump onto it because it makes it more fun. You make them part of the process.
Oh, wonderful! So you have an R&D team of thousands of people that are helping you. And for a guy working in your garage, I mean, that's very important, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it's you can't overemphasize that part of it. Kickstarter is not an online store. It's an online community where people work together to bring creative projects to life, and it's something that you can't. And that's what creates excitement about it. Like I've been selling these Zoe tropes, making them in my garage for a while, and I've they're going to be in some movies this year. And
I know some big movies like The Lone Ranger, even, right?
The Lone Ranger, I sold 4 of them to Disney for the Lone Ranger. And then one of them ended up in the background of the movie for 10 seconds. I was like, oh.
As seen in The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger for 10 seconds in the background.
It doesn't matter. You can say it in your ads. That's what counts.
Yeah. Then later this year, Saving Mr. Banks with Tom Hanks.
Oh.
Tom Hanks is going to be playing Walt Disney during the making of Mary Poppins. And my Zoe trope, what I'm calling the Zoe Flicks, is going to be sitting on Walt Disney's desk.
Wow.
So I hope it.
So you're on Walt Disney's desk.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
And they didn't. And Saving Mr. Banks' production team they couldn't go borrow one of the 4 that I sold the Lone Ranger. They had to buy a whole new one for themselves.
Boy, these people aren't very creative, are they?
I don't know. I think maybe they want a few extra ones because they get them. They probably want to take them home afterwards.
I see, especially for their kids. No, I mean it's just a wonderful social thing too to show people to have it on the middle of your own kitchen table or dining room table and have pictures of your kids in there. So then they have to watch.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's something where it looks beautiful. You set it out, it looks really cool, and you pick it up, and you're like, oh wow, this is interesting. And adults are fascinated with it. You show it to your friends that come over, a conversation piece. They'll look at it, and children will sit there and just play with it for hours.
Yeah, well, just looking at your video on Kickstarter, I mean that's fascinating to watch that, and especially with the light inside. When you have the light inside going around, man, it looks like I'm in the drive-in movies. Yeah.
It's really hard to show that in a video. It looks so much cooler in life. Well, it looks cool in the video as well, but just the way that the light comes out of the slots and the way it kind of waves around in the dark, and you see this glowing like whirl of light with a cartoon inside of it. It's there's nothing like it.
Okay, so more importantly, man, you're a guy working in your garage, working on this stuff, and you go to Kickstarter, you fail once, and you learn from that, come back, and now you're up to $3,500, and you're not even finished yet, and you're successful already.
No, yeah. I mean, by the time it's done, who knows how high it could be? Last week is last couple of weeks are always big.
Yes,
and
that's what they tell me. And so people, you go to Zoeflix, ZOEFLIX.com, right?
That's correct.
Right, that's where to see it and get a pre-production, and you get it for Christmas time, right?
Oh yeah. Even if you missed the Kickstarter, you can still get on the pre-order and get them before Christmas.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being there. Oh, sorry. What was that?
I'm gonna say they'll be continually on sale on Zoeflix.com afterwards.
You have to, because you're gonna have kids someday. You got to send them to college. Your wife wants the mortgage paid. All this kind of stuff, right?
Mortgage paid and new pair of shoes. You know.
Right. Well, wonderful. You're a delight, Les, and thanks for showing us what the world was like. And there's good parts of it that we should keep using because they're cool, right?
Yes. Don't forget, there's a lot of cool technologies that existed before television.
Right.
Very clever, and before there's electricity, they came with lots of different ways to entertain themselves, and they are even in some ways more entertaining today because of how simple they are.
Right.
So,
well, we may have to go back there if we don't use this electricity thing right.
Yeah. You get a power outage. Everyone else can be bored, and if you have a Zoetrope, you're gonna be
exactly wonderful.
Go.
Well, thanks for educating us, Les, and we go to Zoeflix.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Maybe I should put this show on one of those machines. Then you can take it. But actually, what's clever what he did too is he makes them for like centerpieces for weddings and things like this. I mean, just great unique markets. See how you could be unusual, and that unusual markets for an existing product. And that's what life is all about, trying to find new uses for things. And so that's what he's able to do, and maybe that's the inventor in us, but we're all smart enough to do that. It's just given the chance. And actually the other thing is giving a chance to fail like he did. He went on the internet and failed. You have to get out there and fail. And that's why the internet, raising money on it, it's a great safe place to fail. It costs them almost nothing, just producing a couple-minute video, and the rest is nothing, just stuff he already does. So try it. Now here's a young man I'd like you to meet that we all can learn from. Now his motto is fail early, fail often. I mean, he's like under 25 or whatever, and he's learned that already. Boy, he's got a leg up on the rest of us, because it seems like that's what life is about. And you can do it more. It's easier to do it now in life than ever before. Like what he was doing, he had a little idea, him and his buddy, to take your iPad, one of these things, and be able to hook it up onto your desktop so you have a bigger computer screen. If you're a little bit of a techie, you like the bigger screen the better. I don't know, maybe they're going to watch the bowl games on these things too. But so that's why you expand your computer screen, so you could do it anywhere. You go in a coffee shop and you've got an expanded computer screen. So he was trying to invent this little adapter to just clip it on. And what he was able to use is a 3D printer. Now, we talked about these before, and they're real neat things. For a couple bucks, you can print out any kind of, plastic or whatever to, put these things together. And he had to go through about, 15, 20 different, ideas that he had on the best design for that to put these two things together. So that's why if he didn't fail, and if it didn't fail early, and he didn't fail often, he would never get to his product. And so now he's got a prototype from a 3D printer, and he goes on the internet on a crowdfunding site to raise like $20,000 for this thing. And so it costs him very little money. Just the idea and working on this and trying it until he really got it right. And that's what's so important about so many things, because you're never going to get it right the first time, but you have to try. And you can't even design the first thing and get it right until you really put it into practice some way. And that's why with a 3D printer or anything else is the way you get it, to put it in practice, see if it really works, so you can try it again. So watch this. Adrian Velasquez? I screwed it up again, right?
Velasquez. Silent U.
Okay, Velasquez. And
Velasquez.
say it again. Who's I got?
Velasquez.
Velasquez.
Velasquez. Ignore the U.
Ignore the U. A lot of people ignore me, so I understand. Adrian, you got an incredible product, man. You're a young guy just out of school, Lehigh Engineering School, right? And you and your partner have this, sidecar for a laptop to put your iPad onto it, right? So you got 2 screens, and you could be at a coffee shop with 2 screens, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, right? But what's so neat about it, you already got like almost 10 grand, on crowdfunding for this thing, and you invested next to nothing for this idea. Where'd it come from?
So when we were in class doing our masters, everyone had to bring in their computer. And everyone loves working with 2 screens. Like the larger your screen is, the more productive you are. There's studies and all that
really?
will prove that. But
so young people know that old farts done.
I started getting jealous, and everyone started getting jealous when like these 2 guys would come in and they'd put in like their big like 17, 19-inch monitors like right next to their computers, and they'd be like typing away and working all diligently and happily smiling while everyone's like what their 13-inch or 11-inch like screen. So it was like, I have an iPad. Why? Why? And there's already apps out there that allow external display monitoring for your iPad. It was like, it's a pretty neat idea. Like, why don't we just come up with something like there's nothing out there that connects it directly to your iPad? Like there's stands and all that. Mm-hmm. There was one product that does it with the iMac, but nothing does it with your laptop. And like a lot of people that have iPads or tablets usually have laptops as well. Right. So why not maximize the utility of both your devices? Because I know like when I would take them both to class or when I'm with one or the other, I either use one or the other. I don't really use both. So like, for your money's worth, like you might as well be like using both of them at the same time. And like this little thing like just enables it.
So that's the product, right?
Yeah.
That's a show. So that hooks it together, right? Well, put your iPad on it. Show people how that happens. Yeah.
So it's really simple. It's just, you just squeeze it in. Yeah. Slide it in.
Like that.
And that's it.
And you hook it up, and the other side.
I put it onto the laptop, but like I'm obviously Skyping with you, so like you won't be able to see, but you slide it in there, and it's got a good grip. It's made out of plastic skeleton with a silicone skin under it. That actually the friction works really well with it. It doesn't scratch it, and it holds it really nice. Like you can wiggle this all you want. It won't fall down.
So that becomes an extra
scratch it at all. Pull it out.
That's it. Yeah. So people who don't know, I mean, then there's an app you could do. You load into your Apple, and then that will give you the technology to make your screen double, huh?
Yeah, we didn't develop the app. There's already a bunch of apps out there that do that. We recommend Air Display by Avitron. It's a really nice app. Works really fast. One of the reviews we got was like from a guy at Cult of Mac, I think, saying that it'll probably take you longer to decide. Which which app you're going to use and like set it up and all that, and just go out, buy and like use this. Because a lot of the feedback we've gotten is a lot of people do like having that extra external display monitor where they can like move in your email and set everything else apart. Other people just like want to use it to like slide in their phone and just stick it next to the computer. Or have their iPad there and just play around with their iPad, check their Facebook, check their email independently through the iPad while it's right there next to the computer. And the neat thing is like, you might say that there's already stands that you can just like put next to your screen, but like, well, what if you're like in a really tight space, like in our video we have a scene.
You're on the train. You're on in a coffee shop.
On your lap, and you have everything there.
Yeah.
So that's the neatness of it.
Yeah. But it's one thing. I mean, it makes it more like a surround sound or surround screen.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying like, why not 2? Like 3 screens. And like, I took a picture of that. I'm actually gonna post it on our social media site real soon. But like, it looks like the Matrix when you you're in your own little zone and you have a bunch of screens all surrounding you.
So how hard was it to set up the page on Kickstarter? So you're looking for 20 grand. You already got almost half of that already. You're just starting. Was that a difficult process for people, or just something anybody could learn?
It was a long process. Like you might think like something as simple as this, where everyone's been asking us like why, like hasn't that been done before? Like how hasn't that been in the market? As simple and intuitive as it may look, it actually took hundreds of iterations of different prototyping. And
you
3D
have the
printing
first
and
one
molding.
around there. You have to show them the first one.
Yeah. We have a bag here full of like, you know. See a lot of toys here.
That's all your back to the drawing boards, huh?
You know, there's like failed really horrible prototypes like this wiggly thing that obviously wasn't going to hold anything.
Well, how about the one that cracked the screen?
Rigidity ones. Then our original prototype was these two welded pieces of steel with 2 rubber inserts. It worked really well. The only problem is, like, since it was made out of steel, it scratched my computer. So that was obviously something that we had to address right away. So
Not
that's
a selling
go with,
point.
like, the softness of the silicone or rubber around it, which you now see in the new models.
Right. So it's really going through all that iterations. I mean, there's not a whole lot of costs involved. It's just time and thinking and how, to me, it shows you, you know, just the first idea off the top of your head isn't going to be the successful one. You have to really work at this to refine it.
The first thing we learned from our professor Mark DeBank, which I'll always remember, and like he's really proud of that, is fail fast, fail often, or fail early, fail often.
That's right. Like, that's what life is.
And there really couldn't be a better mantra to live by, because, you know, even if this thing isn't successful, or even if it doesn't kick off afterwards, like at least Matt and I are always going to be very fortunate for the experience, the learning experience of, like, you know, being early entrepreneurs. What it's like to to design a product, market a product, and get a product out there. So we've been learning a lot.
But you have it out there without having a whole bunch of money that you had to beg from somebody, you know?
Yeah, no, that's what's great about Kickstarter. And like again, something like this, with all the technology and 3D printing and doing it yourself, like all we had to do was invest in a 3D printer and print our plastic our plastic cores,
right,
and then print the plastic molds as well, and then just
now you'll get the money and you'll go and get it done in mass quantities, right? And send it out. So the people, if they want one to get it on the first batch, they could go on the Kickstarter site, right, and find it. And or you have a website too. That's probably easier because if people are after the campaign, what's the website?
The website's venostech.com.
Venos,
and there's a link there directly
V-E-N-O-S.
to the video in the campaign.
Yeah,
it's actually easier to go through Kickstarter, but they can go through either or.
Yeah. Well, see, what I worry about, people watching this after the Kickstarter campaign's over and still want it, so we can always find you at venostech.com, VENOSTECH. And see the product of our education system at work. And you said the university had 3D printers you could use, and then you found out why don't you get your own and actually.
Yeah, they were always really adamant on like doing rapid prototyping. Like, okay, you got an idea, sketch it out, and like 5 minutes later, okay, do a clay model of it. Then like 5 minutes later, okay, do a wire model of it, and then like finally. You'd spend the night doing a little CAD model, and then like the next day get it on the 3D printer, and then like if something didn't work, if the measurements were off, then like okay, go back to the.
Well, see,
model.
even if you're not at the university, I mean, there's service bureaus that have 3D printers out around the country. For a few bucks, you could have them do it for you, right?
There's a lot of tech shops and all that, and 3D printing is definitely making its way into the mainstream market.
Yeah, and so you have a 3D printer, print the prototype, and then you put it on Kickstarter and wait for the big orders to go manufacture the stuff, right?
Yep.
That's wonderful.
That way we don't lose any money. You know, you don't invest tens of thousands of dollars in molds that you don't know if they're going to work in the first place. So that's what the beauty was of 3D printing them was. Like, we obviously knew like the first 10, 15 to 20 weren't going to work. Yeah. And then like we finally got one that works, and like, okay, we're confident about this model. We're going to go into Kickstarter, and then like we already have the basis for the model, and then we're going to go into get an actual aluminum model or something like that will be, you know, product worthy.
Right. And now you already have over 500 people and counting. So if you want yours, want to be the first on your block to have one of these things, you got to go to Venostech, VENOSTECH, and sign up for that sucker and find out. Actually, it's a cute video and shows you what can be done in this world. And so even to be inspired about getting your own idea and how to do it. And so I appreciate you being around, Adrian, and doing this stuff and showing us what America really is about. See, look, you came from another country and you're showing us.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. See, so the idea is to get out there and fail. And it's so easy to fail. Even on raising money, it's easy to fail. So you have 3D printers that make, the product 100 times and it probably costs you nothing, or next to nothing. And then you go on Kickstarter and the other fundraising sites and try that 100 different times until you get it right. We can't, learn to hit a home run the first time up at bat, but we can certainly try. And it doesn't cost you any money or much money at all to get out there and keep trying.